Robert, how did you find carnivore?
So I think like a lot of people, my first exposure to carnivore was Dr. Sean Baker on Joe Rogan. But I'm going to be pretty honest, I thought it was a bit wild. I was only really half listening to it. And I was kind of at that time transitioning from the plant-based experiment to the whole food uh, experiment. I was quite sick at the time. I had chronic bacterial prostate infection with E. coli. And what happens is when your immune system is so suppressed, the E. coli just populates. And it swells up your prostate. It's very, very painful, stuff like that. So I'd been on antibiotics for about 2 years at that point. I was starting to become resistant to antibiotics. So I started experimenting with, so that's when I moved from the plant-based to the whole foods. So there was more meats, more sweet potatoes. It was starting to move closer towards keto, if I'd be more realistic. And then I started listening to Jason Fung. I started introducing controlled fasts, whether that be time restricted eating or whether that be you do a 24-hour fast, 48-hour fast. I was still having issues because when you take antibiotics, you're supposed to eat. I wasn't always doing that. And one day I had my blood pressure checked and it was all the way up at, I forget what it was, but it was like stage 3 high blood pressure. So it was really, really bad. And I was also having angina, but it was the stable version, not the unstable version. I forget what they call it. And the doctor wanted to put me on meds, and I was like, nah, I'm not doing this. And I looked into E. coli bacteria, and antibiotic resistance. I learned that high dosing vitamin C weakens the E. coli, allows that to work. Now, I was in Japan at that time, and my doctor was actually Japanese, but had trained as a GP in the United States and spoke really, really good English. And they recommended that I reduce my insulin, my sugar intake, my carb intake, in order to allow inflammation to reduce, because it is immune-based. And as you know, as we've since learned, insulin and the hormonal effects of insulin can have a big effect on your overall immune system. So I decided to cut all alcohol for 2 years. I went on soda water for 2 years. And it took about 3 or 4 months. And pretty much I didn't need antibiotics anymore. Now, I still do get flare-ups because, I'm not strict carnivore all the time. But when I do get the flare-ups, all I have to do is a short fast and back into keto or back into carnivore. And it eases itself because the immune system resets, the immune system comes back, and obviously you're feeding it. Now, COVID happens. And it's a stressful time for everybody. That particular time, I had gone to England on what was supposed to be a business trip, but I ended up getting caught in lockdowns. And I gained a lot of weight. And I mean a lot. I'm back in my hometown that I hadn't been. I hadn't been to my hometown in over 30 years. So I'm having rhubarb tart, apple crumbles, Scottish meat pies, steak and gravy pies, Fleming's pies. Anybody from Northeast Scotland will know what a Fleming's pie is. And so I was like overindulging. I'm not going to lie, I was overindulging. Then you start drinking at home, you get fat. So about 6 months into the 6 months into COVID. So we're now, what are we now? Late April 2021. I decided this can't go on anymore. So I have a plan to go do a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu boot camp where you pretty much do 2 to 3 classes a day, 5-6 days a week, full time. It's a proper boot camp course. You have to commit yourself. By this time, I'm pretty much morbidly obese. I'm up at about 113, 14 kilos. My waist is up at about, I think, 116 centimeters. So the only way out of the UK is if you can prove that you live in another country or that you're a foreign citizen or that you're going on business. So I show my Japanese permanent residence card, fill in a form, fly to Japan, and then I fly Japan to Phuket, Thailand, where the boot camp is. So I do this boot camp. My intention was to do mostly carnivore. I did eat a lot of meat. I did eat a lot of eggs. It was all going really well. But I wasn't prepared for the intensity of the program. So pretty much at the end of every class, I'd fill my face with like a yogurt ice cream or a bunch of M&Ms or a bunch of whatever. But I did lose a lot of weight. I think I got down to about 93 kilos. Oh, my waist had dropped all the way down to about 93, 95 centimeters. All was going really well. I'm one of like less than 5 or 6 people at that particular time had graduated the program out of hundreds. And so I graduated the program, morbidly obese. Nobody thought I'd pass it. I pass it. Then I have a motorbike accident 1 week later, and everything changed. Basically, I'm on the motorbike. It's a rainy day. I'm not going that fast. Pickup truck with a bunch of steel rods sticking out the back overtakes me, then immediately stops in front of me. I have a choice. There's not enough time or space to get around the truck. So I've either got to come off the bike or I've got to go into the steel rods, and I chose to come off the bike. I completely destroyed my shoulder, and a lot of misjudgment around treatment. So I thought it wasn't broken. It didn't feel broken. I wasn't in that much pain in the beginning. I had somebody help me get the bike back. I took a whole bunch of tramadol, got an arm sling. And obviously with tramadol, I mean, I was in a lot of pain, don't misunderstand, but I was taking a lot of tramadol. I was going down to the beach every day, moving my arms in the oceans. It's not broken. I'm going to a physio who's releasing all the tension out of my back, and I don't think this is broken. This should be fine. About 12 days after, I decide, let's go get an X-ray because it just isn't getting any better. I'm still on all these meds, and let me go take a look at it. And it's wrecked. It's totally destroyed. There's greater tuberosity. That's where the bone that holds your rotor cuff is snapped off, and even that's fractured in half. My arm, so my glenoid and my humerus is kind of like that. It should be like that. It's kind of like that, sitting on the edge. And it's a Thai public hospital, Thai government hospital. They're very good, but the surgeon was like, "Look, you need to do this like now, because if we get to 14 days, we need to do shoulder replacement surgery." I'm not ready mentally for the surgery and for the urgency of it, and I'm kind of like, "Nah, I'm probably going to be okay," and I let it go. Thereon after, every surgeon I ever talked to is telling me I need a reverse shoulder replacement surgery. And a reverse shoulder replacement is where your ball becomes a socket and your socket becomes a ball. But first of all, there's not many surgeons that have done these. So there's not a lot of experience around doing these particular types, or at least at that particular time, there was not a lot of experience around doing these kind of surgeries. Secondly, this kind of surgery, it's like the heart transplant of joint replacement. That's the last option. There's nothing after that. Like, so if they do this and it doesn't work, there's nothing else. It also means no more jujitsu. It also means no more heavy lifting. It just, your rotor cuff has to get attached to your scapula. Not the rotor cuff, sorry, the deltoid has to get attached to the scapula. And you become very limited in what you can do. I decided I'm still quite functional. I had gone back to jiu-jitsu about 3 months after the accident. Very limited, of course. It still is limited. And I lost all my confidence. And because I'd gone from passing one of the most difficult Brazilian jiu-jitsu boot camps in the world. I mean, it was intense. Almost nobody passes it. And I'm super fit to just, I couldn't clean myself in the bathroom. I couldn't shower myself. Almost impossible to change my clothes. And it was a huge confidence killer. I still have limited, what do you call it, movement. Gain weight. So we get to 2023, I'm back in Japan. And Dr. Chafee comes up on my feed, right? And I'd seen a little bit of Sean Baker, a bit more in the feed, but I don't vibe with how he talks sometimes. I respect his story, his journey, orthopedic surgeon, trying to heal people with carnivore, and that kind of helps in my case because it is an orthopedic uh, injury. But it's the passion of Dr. Chafee and the research that he prevents and the evidence. Because I'm a very evidence person. I like go research stuff. I'm not a follow a TikTok trend kind of person. In fact, I don't even. Well, I just deleted the only TikTok I ever had. And so I thought, okay, let me try this. So I got onto a very well known meat supplier in Japan, the Meat Guy. You probably heard of him yet. And I ordered a bunch of ribeyes and a bunch of sirloin steaks, and I started eating. Boy, did I feel better. Because when you're inflamed, I guess it's like even if you have arthritis, all the inflammation around that joint, all the fluid around that joint, that was causing the constant pain, like just constant pain, was just insane. But when I was mixing the fasting with the steaks, and I was doing a lot of intermittent fasting, and all the water starts to drop, it was almost as if I got my life back. I could finally lift my arm above my head again. Now, this is not a miracle cure. The injury's still there till I have surgery, eventually. But the pain relief, the confidence that comes back, was like you couldn't put a price on it. I didn't care what the steaks were costing. It was good. But my life is very transient. I have to travel a lot for the kind of work that I do. I'm back in Thailand. Access to meat at that time was not as consistent. You've got the jet lag recovery, stuff like that. So, you fall off a little bit. You find a meat supplier, whether that be, the wholesaler, whether that be the foreigner supermarket. So you get the meat, you get back on it, you fly again, you get off it again. And so it's just kind of been like that on and off for a while. But in terms of what carnivore has done for my life, whether it be carnivore or keto, and I like to combine it with fasting. I know Dr. Chafee says you don't have to do it, and other people don't, but it works for me that way. I can't put words on it. It's just it's insane, and it's not. I mean, when I see people from your own videos where they've recovered MS, they've, like yourself, you've recovered from a stroke, type 2 diabetes. That's amazing. I mean, that's just wow. Like it's fantastic. But then there's a
Mm.
lot of people like me who we're looking for those small wins. Did I sleep better? Am I in less pain today than I was yesterday? Can I function better today than I functioned yesterday? Now, these big recoveries and these big remissions are like, I'm really, really happy for these people. And I think some people see these success stories and they try to replicate that for themselves, that they miss all the benefits from here to here. And it's that you wake up, I can lift my arm above my shoulder now. Like, until you lose that ability, you don't know what that is. It's those little small wins every day.
Yeah. This reminds me of, like, you don't think anything about the running water in your house until it gets turned off for 2 days, and then you're
Right.
suddenly like, "Huh?"
Right. It's exactly that, right? Until the signal goes out on your phone and you can't do your internet banking. How did I ever live without internet banking? Well, how did you ever live without your shoulder or your knee or your hip? And I've not been really strict in carnivore. I am going to join the Dr. Chafee 90-day challenge next month, hopefully. I have to do one more move at the end of next month. But that next move is a 6-month stay. So I can be more consistent with what I'm doing and more consistent with my food supply. But yeah, like, you don't know what you've got until you lose it. And so this is where these really, really, really small wins come in. And my partner, She used to suffer really, really bad acne. Really bad acne. Gone. Completely gone. Was it overnight? No. But it's gone. She had myocarditis from the and pretty much resolved. Her heart would speed up. I mean, just literally getting up from a Starbucks chair and walking to the counter. Her heart would go from, I think at that time it was like 118 to 160 something. Just standing up and walking to the counter. One time she passed out in the shower, just blacked out, just everything went black. And I'm scared. I can't see. So these are scary. These are scary things for people. And can we take a minute? Can we take a minute?
No worries.
I thought I was going to lose her that day.
But so that has resolved. Like she doesn't have the myocarditis, or it doesn't affect her the same way.
I mean, we've never had a medical check to see that it's gone. There's no symptoms anymore. She might occasionally, very occasionally, when we've come off of carnivore and we've traveled like for example, we went from Bangkok to Tbilisi last year. There was a massive, I think it was an 18-hour stopover in Doha. And so there was not much sleep the night before. There was not much sleep that night. And so by the time we got to Tbilisi, jet lag, recovering, that there might have been a pang or two. So, when the body is overstressed or we've moved away from the core of the diet, then there can be it's not a relapse. It's just, just give me a second and then we can continue. But we've gone from like regular sharp pains in the chest, regular like super high heart rate, to now she can work out, she can walk, she can live. There's almost no pain and almost no insane heart rates. And again, these are the small wins. And it didn't happen in one day. It didn't happen in 1 week. It didn't happen in 1 month. It just happened by consistently eating better. And this takes us to the big debate. Do you go cold turkey or do you do it in stages? And I'm very good at doing stuff cold turkey, but with my partner, it had to be in stages. And I think you need to find what works for you. If you can't go cold turkey, don't just eat more meat. By just eating more meat and eating meat first, you eat less carbs. You just naturally eat less carbs. You'll naturally crave less. So now you're naturally eating less sugars. And if you really want to, you can add intermittent fasting to it. So I'm only going to eat 12 o'clock lunch and I'm only going to eat 7 o'clock dinner. You could say, you know what, I'm going to have a English breakfast, bacon, eggs, sausages. I'm going to have lunch. That's it. Like, there's no one perfect fit. It's, you got to find what fits for your lifestyle because, you got to make it work around your life. And this is where this giant debate, do I do this cold turkey or do I do this in stages? And there's nothing wrong by just eat the meat first or eat the fatty food first, eat the eggs first, eat the butter first. You'll naturally eat less carbs.
Right. And I think, even if you go to, even if you're going to what might be a higher carb keto at first, I mean, for most people on a typical Western diet, that is pretty much cold turkey anyway at that stage,
Yeah, but I mean, you can choose your carbs, right? So rice cold has less glycogen spike or less insulin spike than hot rice. Japanese rice is better than long rice. You can eat sweet potatoes instead of potatoes, but potatoes cold has the same effect as rice cold. So you can just decide to have a potato salad instead. There's a million ways that you can sit there, and it doesn't need, because I mean, if you pick up a keto book, it's got all these wonderful pictures with all these exotic recipes. most people are not going to adhere to those recipes. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, as soon as you, start seeing those kind of things, and you start
Mhm.
eating those kind of things with the almond flours and
Uh,
the substitute sugars and all that kind of thing, certainly for myself, it's not long before you're back into the Krispy Kreme donuts, you know? It's,
well, it's a
yeah.
stage, isn't it? It's a stage, and like people, I try talking to friends about this, and they're like, "Oh, but what about this? And but what about that?" I'm like, "Eat it. If you have a business dinner, have a business dinner." Because Japan, you can't go to business dinner and go, "Sorry, I'm only eating meat." Go on that business dinner, eat what you have to eat, and then restart the next day. Even fast the next day if it really makes you feel better. Don't have to, but you can if that kind of makes you feel better. Um, it's everything in life is a choice, right? You can choose to be sick. You can choose what you eat. You can choose how hard it is. And it's like that kind of cliche, sick is hard, carnivore is hard. I don't think it's hard, but in people's mind, it's hard. Sick is hard. Well, which hard do you want? That's it.
Exactly, yeah. So I wanted to just go back for a second to ask about something because you talked about, those small wins
Mm,
that you get. And one of the potential ones I wanted to talk to you about was because of the shoulder,
mm.
I imagine that would have interrupted your sleep to some level. I mean, how's your sleep now? Is it better?
Oh, yeah. Like, uh, before carnivore and keto, sleeping is, nah. Like, I have to wake up to turn. I like to sleep on my side. Um, and because of the pain, you're tossing, turning. And you literally wake up to turn. So you're waking up, waking up, waking up, waking up, waking up. Now, if I'm not fasting, because when I'm fasting, I'm supercharged on ketones, can't sleep properly anyway. But when I'm sleeping properly, carnivore, keto, I'm gone from 9, 10 o'clock until 4 in the morning. I like to wake up 4 in the morning. I'm gone till, yeah, 4 in the morning, no problem.
Nice.
Um, and,
Yeah.
and like I said, with the small wins, prostate down. Prostate's easy to manage. I can go to the bathroom easier because of that. And there'll be a lot of guys, especially in the 40s and 50s and 60s, kind of like me in the 50s. I think you're 50 something as well.
Yeah, 51.
Yeah. So I'm 53. So this is something that becomes an issue for a lot of guys. And a lot of guys, they might not know that their swollen prostate is actually an E. coli infection. I mean, when I first went to my doctor, they said, "Oh, you've got gonorrhea." I said, "I haven't had sex in 18 months. No chance I have gonorrhea." "Oh, let me do a test." Come back a few days, say, "Oh, it's E. coli." So there's a lot of guys who are not even going to know that. And it's based around your immune system. If your immune system is suppressed, your E. coli can overpopulate because there's not the immune system to fight it and keep it in check. And so, like, if I go out on a drinking session, like a nomikai for business in Japan, if I take long flights, it'll flare up again. But it's very easy now to put it back into remission without antibiotics.
Wow. So no antibiotics, no other meds?
No, no, no. I don't like. I'm one of these people. Like you've really got to push me to take a painkiller. Even when I took the tramadol for my shoulder, I was off it in 2 weeks. I didn't want. I'm not talking negatively about people who get addictions from painkillers. I just didn't want to become a statistic that was like I needed to depend on painkillers to function. Um, and it was just a decision that I made. I think it took less than 3 weeks, and I was off it, and just trying to find a way to live with the pain. And I only wish I had listened to the Dr. Sean Baker stuff on Joe Rogan so much earlier. It's one of those things, but you can't go back in time.
Right. So I guess it's hard to ask you what a typical day is because the days change so much based on where you are. But like, if you're in a perfect world, what is your eating like when you're doing carnivore?
So when I am doing carnivore and keto, I try to pretty much keep it the same. And that would be 500 to 750 grams of red meat, whether that's a 80/20 burger, like an Angus burger, whether that's a ribeye. I like to keep it at about that. And I used to do 6 to 10 eggs, but what I've noticed is the more I do carnivore, I can't eat eggs. I get like a hay fever type symptoms, um, sneezing fits. It used to be with only the cheap eggs, but now even with the more expensive eggs, nope. I can eat it, don't misunderstand, but just sneezing fits, hay fever symptoms. So it used to be eggs. So that's why now I'm starting to up the meat a bit more. Um, I like to eat organ meat twice a week if I can, about 150 grams at a time, 200 grams at a time. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. I've tried it with jujitsu, and that kind of pushes me up to about the kilo and a half mark of red meat when I'm doing it with jujitsu. And that's the other thing, like in terms of exercise or breath work when I'm on carnivore, when I meditate, when I do Wim Hof, the air just flows through my nose. There's no struggle to breathe. There's no struggle to get the air moving. Same when I meditate. When I do jujitsu, even if I'm holding a bit of weight like I am now, I can move around because in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, especially if it's Carlson Gracie Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, the warm-up is killer. If you're not fit, the warm-up is killer. 3-4 days of carnivore, I'm running around that room. I'm going around that room, no problem. I'm doing the warm-up. Don't get me wrong, it's still hard, but it's so much easier. The Jiu-Jitsu is easier. I have more strength in my joints. I mean, my bone is still, the bone is back a little bit. About 2.5 years after the accident, I was doing a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu class. Somebody did a move on my arm called an Americana. It's an arm lock, and it actually knocked the bone back into place. Yeah, but the bone where your rotor cuff is attached to still snapped off. So my rotor cuff is still back here, and the bone is not able to rotate properly because there's no rotor cuff. But there's a lot more stability. I have more strength. There's still some techniques I can't do because I can't rotate my arm. And there are some techniques where your arm or your shoulder has to go through like a rotational motion. But yeah, I've gone from being it would take me a week to recover from one class to now, I can maybe do 2-3 classes in a week without overly stressing my body, because the shoulder being out puts my neck out, which puts my lower back out, which puts my hips out. So yeah, there's like a knock-on effect, if that kind of makes sense.
Right. Wow. And so we spoke off camera
Mm,
about where you're planning to go next.
mm.
Where you're planning to go next, is that gonna be easier for you for securing beef?
Um, in terms of securing beef, yeah, I think so. That part of the world, it's all the food is pre-industrialized. Now, I'm not saying go out and eat bread, but if you eat bread there, you don't get the bloating. You're full. I can have I don't know how big is a ribeye there, because ribeye there is on the bone. I don't know, maybe it's like half a kilo for a ribeye. Um, you just sear that, get it on your plate, couple of eggs, the local bread from the person outside your building that makes it, homemade. There's not the allergies, there's not the bloating, and you're full. You're done for the day. Um, you can't even eat the whole bread. Like in Japan, I can whole loaf gone. Easy, and the 7-Eleven egg sandwich, egg mayonnaise sandwiches, right? I could eat those all day long, right? But in this particular country, nah. Like I can't even like it's a flatbread anyway. I can't eat all of it. I can't even eat half of it. And yeah, it's the water there is insane. It's highly mineralized water. It's some of the best mineral water in the world. And yeah, I think it's like $12 a kilo of ribeye on the bone. So it's cheap. It's easy to access. And we're looking at spending time in the neighboring country. And if you go to the old Soviet marketing in the neighboring country, every morning they hang the cow. What do you want? They'll just cut it off there for you right there and then.
Wow. It's It sounds like that's a carnivore's paradise.
It is, and we were there for a month last year, and it was good. I mean, even you go to the supermarket, you get a whole smoked mackerel. It's like, I don't know, it's like what, 400 yen? What's that? $3 for a whole smoked mackerel. Yeah. Caviar, 210 grams of caviar was like $80, $80. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, I have to do more exploring.
It's
Yeah.
it's one of the cheapest countries in the world to live. I mean, in terms of like westernized countries to live. And it also happens to be, which will make anybody easy to know what country it is actually the home of wine. UNESCO designated it as the first country that they have evidence that started making wine 8,000 years ago.
Oh, okay. Sorry, and which country?
Georgia.
Georgia. Ah, okay.
Mm.
Wow. So I'm learning. I had no idea about this kind of thing. Wow. Interesting. Um, but you're only going there for 6 months, and then you just move on to wherever the next place happens to be.
So no, we're going there to try and set up a business structure because they like Armenia and Georgia are up and coming countries. They're developing more, but they're encouraging IT and AI development. And one of my businesses is AI, and they're offering a lot of incentives for companies who do AI.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, I
Mm.
watch a lot of these, nomad business channels, and
Mm.
they often talk about places like Georgia and Armenia and stuff like that for
Mm.
for traveling to. Yeah.
And
Yeah. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, Georgia just made it slightly more complex about the visa systems for digital nomads now, but it's still quite practical to live there. And I think if you're a digital nomad, your income's under $160,000 a year, 1% tax.
Wow. That's crazy. Um, yeah, interesting.
Mm.
So we talked about, people going into carnivore. They don't necessarily have to go in cold turkey.
Mm.
They can just kind of slowly transition in.
Mm.
Um, do you think there's also a personality kind of element to that? Like, there are some people that would do better kind of just going in cold turkey because
Yeah.
that's the way they deal with anything?
Mm. I think so. Like, I mean, there's people who will start businesses, and there's people that will think about it and will I do it? What won't I do it? There's people who are comfortable in. I don't. I mean, I'm generalizing people here, but there's people who are more comfortable in group thought, and this is where communities help. Whether that be Dr. Chafee's community, whether that be uh, Dr. Berry's community, or any of the other carnivore communities out there. Then you've got your little community, and uh, the best way I can put this is as an example. I tried to do a 90-day challenge on social media last week, and I started getting videos removed for promoting eating disorders. And they tried suggesting, and I got messages from the platform suggesting I get help for body dysmorphia. And all I had done was filmed what I was going to eat that day to break a 47-hour fast. Yes.
Wow.
That's all I had done. That's all I had done. But at the same time, videos of people doing calorie deficits on monster drinks and jam and pancakes, they're all fine. They're all fine. There's no body dysmorphia there. There's no eating disorders there. Calorie deficit on junk food. No, that's definitely not an eating disorder there. And all I
It's
done,
totally normal.
and the meal that I was proposing was 1,890 calories in a meal. It was 2 tins of sardines. It was 500 grams of beef. It was a little bit of grass-fed butter and a little bit of MCT oil. And I got that. And I just thought, I'm out of social media. I'm out of this. Now, why is this relevant to your question? Because people are seeing this rubbish online all day, every day, and it gets in their head. Now, there's people like me that I can filter that out. So making decisions are easier. There's people that say, oh, but I heard this, and oh, but I heard that. And it's great to be critical. It's great to analyze. But if you are one of these people, just try it and do it gradually if that's what makes you comfortable. Because here's the thing. You're not trying to impress me. I'm not trying to impress Dr. Chafee. Dr. Chafee is not trying to impress Dr. Berry. Like, do you know what I mean? We're all our own people. I'm not you. You're not me. Your symptoms are not my symptoms. Your illnesses are not my illnesses. You have to do what works for you. But the key word is what works and makes it consistent for you. So I think there are some people, if they can cut out the noise, if they have the ability, I think they call it personality type A. That's what the psychologists call it. If you have the ability to cut out the noise and just focus on what needs to be done, sure, you can cut it out. But there are some people who will see social media, but social media said this and social media said that. Fine. Try it, but try it for 7 days. You've had guests come on, and I tried it for 7 days. After 3 days, I felt amazing.
Yeah.
Just try it. You're not going to die. I mean, you're not going to die in 7 days.
That's right. I mean, even doing the the calorie deficits and junk food diet, you're not going to kill yourself in 7 days, right? It's yeah.
But that's okay because social media said that's okay.
Right. It's got the social media seal of approval. Yeah. So Robert, if people want to reach out to you, do you have any way of getting in contact?
So right now I've only got my Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu Instagram, which is on there, the official Robert Douglas. People can send me a message. I can give advice based on only my own experiences. That's all I can really, help people. If people are in Thailand and they want to know how to source meat, more than happy to say. But I'm more than happy to help anybody any way I can.
Awesome. I'll link to your Instagram in the show notes. Robert, thank you so much for coming on and sharing your experience. I really appreciate your time.
No, I appreciate you having me here and listen to my story. I know it's not as dramatic as everybody else's, but I think there's a lot of people like me who just want to see these little small improvements, get out of bed easier, walk easier, stand easier, maybe go back to doing a sport or a hobby they had when they were younger. And it's the small wins. That's it. You just need those small wins. And those small wins are what allow you to have the belief to keep doing it and to keep changing your life.